Leicester City will look to continue their 100% start to the season when they welcome our beloved West Ham United to the King Power Stadium on Sunday, live in front of the cameras, but unfortunately, again, without the fans. Both sides go into the match off the back of big wins last weekend when Leicester thumped Man City 5-2 at the Etihad Stadium, and West Ham shocked probably the footballing world by defeating Wolverhampton Wanderers 4-0 at home. My name's Anton, this is Irons United, and of course, this is our Leicester preview. I am joined by Alf. Alf, Leicester City, what are we thinking?
Well, hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Leicester City Appreciation Show. I think that's as honest as I can be. Let's put it that way. Look, I mean, they have started brilliantly, haven't they? Worryingly so. But the way I thought this was a bit of flash in the pan kind of stuff. I thought this was a bit of, yeah, they've got a couple of wins under their belt. Yeah, it's not going to be a repeat of when they won the league and all that kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, they went up against Man City and they just put them to the sword. And I was thinking, oh, hello, here we go. So I'm predicting a bit of a riot on Sunday, or a rout, I should say, by Leicester City, especially if they're on song. We are going to be in trouble.
That's a very kind of different point of view there, Alf. You know, we've come off a fantastic victory against Wolves, although we were defeated midweek in the Carabao Cup from Everton. Myself and you were watching the game, and you couldn't help but be deflated. Is that a hangover? Is your opinion a strong hangover from the Everton game rather than the Wolves game?
Yeah, look, if we'd done this preview after the Wolves game, I would be jumping at it. I would be saying, come on, Leicester, come on. Oh, no chance. But no, after that game in midweek, I'm sure you can all agree, totally deflated, totally disgusted in many ways by the way that transpired. And look, it was always going to be a tough game against Leicester. But I think it's going to be a tough one. I'm not saying it's a no-hoper. I'm not saying we don't stick a chance. We've got to bring our A game, as it were, as the Americans like to say, just to be able to compete with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, last time West Ham actually beat Leicester was at the King Power Stadium back in 2018, thanks to Yao Mario and Mark Noble. And it was a wonder goal from Mark Noble as well, wasn't it?
Funnily enough, I was talking about that the other night, if anybody remembered that amazing volley goal that, it just came out of nowhere, really. And we're always slating. We do love to slate Mark Noble. But then all of a sudden, he come out with that. Then all of a sudden, oh, wow, amazing. How can we ever survive without Mark Noble? So we're hoping for a little bit more magic. Whether it'll play or not, who knows? I mean, but there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, without further ado, we are doing the preview for Leicester, and always when we do these previews, we're trying our best to get us on as many opposition fans as we possibly can. So our brand spanking new friends of the channel are joining us tonight. So we've got Jamie from the Foxes, Arms and Leicester Fan TV. Jamie, how are you?
Evening all. How are you? I've got to say, I thought I was on my own channel then for the minute. The amount of talk you were doing about Leicester, I thought it was Phil and Locks and me doing a preview of the game. It sounded like Leicester Fan TV to me, but much appreciated. Until you started mentioning that defeat in 2018, then I realised, no, I'm not on my own channel.
Well, I'm hoping when you come to do a review of the game afterwards, you'll be singing our praises for stuffing you 3-0. But there we go. I'm hoping. I thought I'd do the preview and be charitable. You see, generous. So hopefully you'll do the same.
Don't you love our confidence there, Jamie? That's Alf having some mid-afternoon, early evening glasses of wine.
He's had a couple of sherbets, has he?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, we know. Listen, there's no denying, Jamie. There's no denying. I think I came on your show the other day and I said to you about West Ham fans would look at Leicester and think, what is it that Leicester have done that West Ham haven't done? There's an element of jealousy. I'll hold my hands up and I'll absolutely say it. Jealousy from the way that the club's been ran from top to bottom, from an outsider looking in, compared to the way that West Ham are currently run. But I mean, listen, you're coming off, you're kind of pushing on, you're kicking on from where you should have been, in our opinion, whereas West Ham fans have had opportunities to kick on and then have gone back the way. How are you feeling about the season in general, and also just in general about Leicester City?
I'll just go back to the restart. At the restart, we were fourth, and we were looking confident of going up. But as soon as that restart happened, of being in the Champions League, we were confident. And then all of a sudden, the form dipped and everything, and we were struggling. And then we got pipped at the post by Man U in the last game of the season when they beat us 2-0.
Yeah.
But the interviews at the start of the season by the players was, we want to get into Europe. Well, Europe is top 6, top 7. So we've done what we achieved. It's just so disappointing that we were in fourth place for 3-4 months, I think it was. I can't remember the exact amount of time. And then just on the last day, we missed out. And the confidence wasn't brilliant at the start of the season, to be honest. We had a tough start. West Brom away, coming up from Championship, did well in the Championship. We thought that's going to be a tough game. Steamrolled them 3-0. Burnley always gives you a tough game. Burnley do. They like Sean Dyche teams like kicking you and punching you and hitting you where it hurts. And they took the lead 1-0, and we thought, oh, here we go again. The confidence is going. We came back. We scored 4 goals. Fantastic. And then the Man City game, well, we did a show straight after, and Phil said, Jamie, what do you think? And I just went, wow, just wow. I was actually gobsmacked. It's not like me to be speechless. I just didn't know what to say. I was so surprised. I really was. We just outplayed them. The first 20 minutes, we thought, oh, what's going on here? But we just ground them down, which is what Leicester do now. We're not so much of as Man City said, the lucky team. They were lucky to score 5. Lucky to score 5 against Main Road. That's me, old school, at the Etihad. Man City haven't conceded 5 at Etihad for 17 years. Pep's never done it in his career. We were lucky, but we counter it. Don't do the counter-attack anymore. We press, patiently build up, and then we score most of our goals in the second half. So if your boys are knackered in the second half, then lads, so be careful. That's the way we do it now.
Well, you listen, mate. He's just hit the nail on the head there, Alf, hasn't he?
Absolutely. No, I mean, I sort of caught a bit of a glimpse of that Leicester Man City game as well, and very impressive. I've always been a bit of a fan of Brendan Rodgers, actually, your manager. But what I'm always been even more of a fan is of your club structure. And the way it's continued on. They've built, they've invested heavily, your owners, in the fabric of the club. Whereas this is where we seem to be lacking the fabric of our club. We haven't had that investment. But you're right. When you won the league, you were kind of a ball over the top, counter-attacking side, get Vardy to run onto it. And guess what? What was it? 12, 13 games? He got that record, didn't he? He was
11. He scored 11 on the trot. Scored 13 in 11.
Yeah, that was it. Right. So, but it's not that kind of game anymore. It's not that kind of team anymore. There are a lot, and you were looking really good last season. I'm glad you mentioned that, because when you came after restart, it wasn't the same Leicester team. There was something. What changed it? We'd gone 8 wins on the bounce, and we played Norwich, and we drew 1-1 at home with Norwich. And in that week, Brendan Rodgers was given the chance to speak to Arsenal, and the board wouldn't let him speak to Arsenal. And since that's what everyone put it down to. We just won 9-0 away at Southampton, part of the 8 games winning streak, and then we played Norwich at home. And since that Norwich at home game, which seemed to be the catalyst of last year when we were started to struggle, and there were rumours about Rodgers might be going to Arsenal, it seemed to go downhill. But just saying about the owners, though, the owners have done an absolute fantastic job. You couldn't want anything better from our owners. From unfortunately the late chairman Vichai, when Vichai and Top, when they came in 10 years ago, they turned the club around. They paid off all the debts. We were in debts up to our armpits. We were struggling. We were drowning in the debts we had. They paid it all off. They bought the stadium back because we were renting the stadium off a firm in America. I can't remember the name of the firm in America it was. They paid all the debts off. They slowly built up. They made a few mistakes with Paulo Sousa and Sven-Goran Eriksson. Then they brought Nigel Pearson back, who doesn't get the credit he deserves for when we won the league, even though he wasn't there. It was Ranieri. And then we had a couple of bad transfer windows, and it's sort of gone downwards. Then unfortunately, the tragic accident happened on October the 28th when we played against you guys. And then Top came in, and he's carried on from where his dad's left off. We've invested in £100 million
new training facility at Seagrove, which is out in the sticks instead of being in the city centre, so it's easy to get to. There's a proposed ground extension to make it from, it's 32.5 now. I think it's going to either 40 or 42. I can't remember. That's going to happen. So you couldn't want for any more from your owners. You really couldn't. From where we were to where we are now 10 years ago, it's unbelievable what the owners have done.
It's always the little simple things, isn't it? It's always the little simple things that the owners do for the fans that make them feel appreciated. That, not West Ham fans are. We probably do crave it, but simple things like buying your fans a drink, getting them a bit of food, something at half time. Paying for travel away from home, leaving scarves and t-shirts on the seats, and giving everything back to the fans. The kids walk out. That's the marketing. But that's not just the fact that the Leicester are doing it for the reasons of marketing. They're doing it because they actually care. They genuinely care about the club, and that's what makes the fans want to keep coming back. Because if you're doing that to the fan base and you're producing something decent on the field, then it's absolutely match made in heaven, isn't it? And
on Vichai's birthday, before he passed away, there was always cupcakes given out. 32,000 cupcakes. You can imagine how much that would make. How many of them you'd have to make, and how much time it would. And even now, on his birthday, 32,000 cupcakes. We had a Vichai walk, memorial walk for him the year after the accident, and there was 50,000 people turned up just for the walk.
Yeah,
the ground only holds 32,000, but still 50,000 people turned up. That's how much he's held. It's so high. It's untrue. It's untrue. For what he's done, it's absolutely fantastic. It really is. There's not many foreign owners that bang the money in, and don't really want an investment back. Because you don't make football. You don't make money out of football nowadays, really, do you? So they've been banging the money in. They're not seeing much of a return, especially now, because as most of our shirts are all King Power. So it's all money coming from duty free. No one's flying at the minute. No one's going on. Well, not many people are going on. So they're not making the money, but they've still invested. How much have they invested? 50 odd million off the top of my head. 55 million it is off the top of my head. Yeah, they've still invested that money, and they probably won't get that back at all.
And that's what I was going to say there. You've brought in. Sorry, Alf. You've brought in obviously some new players, Under and Fofana. West Ham fans know all about Fofana because we were strongly linked to him, but we just didn't get the deal done. We couldn't just dot the I's and cross the T's. It just could not get the terms over the line, and the club didn't want to do any kind of dealings with us. And that's the difference, I suppose, between Leicester's management style and ownership. Is Brendan Rodgers names a player, puts all this, you've got a proper scouting system, you've got a proper setup from the bottom up, and that produces the results on the pitch. Alf, what were you going to say? Sorry,
I was just about to say, you've gone into the market there, and you've made a couple of decent signings there. But I was really going to talk about Brendan Rodgers. Actually, what has he done with these new players that he's brought in? Has he really changed it? Have they made the impact that you probably, whether you hoped they would or not, or has he changed things a lot from last season to this season?
No, he's changed the style of play from what we used to be. We used to be the counter-attacking style. And then when Puel came in, we had Puel ball that was going back, forth, side, back, not much forward. There was his favourite word was we didn't play with too much intensity. So he's changed that now. We play the patient game. We still play it side. We still like playing football and the old Barcelona style, tiki-taki style stuff. But then there's like the killer punch. And once we start breaking them down, then that's the way we are now. So it's more very possession-based football. Although against Man City, according to Man City again, we were lucky to have 30% possession, and we still were lucky to score 5 goals. So, but it's trying to be possession-based football for us now, and then build up patience, break them down.
Let me ask you this, Jamie. If you are, as West Ham fans, who should we be really worried about on Sunday? From Leicester. If you had to say a couple of players, the obvious ones, I know, but I mean, who would you say we should be worried about?
1 to 11.
I love that confidence, though. And do you know what, Jamie? There's an element that I completely believe what you just said there, because it's a confident. No, I do. It's a confident.
No. Honestly, now I would say it is the Belgium trio. of Pratt, Tillemans, and Castagna. They seem
Right.
to have when Tillemans came, Peel brought him in, and he was on loan, and he was like looking for a job because he was on loan, and he was outstanding. He really was outstanding. Then 4 months he was on loan. Then last year we bought him permanently for 34, 35 million. And last year he wasn't that good. It didn't quite work for him last year. And everyone was moaning, oh, he looked a bit top heavy, he's a bit weighty, he looks a bit out, he looks a bit knackered, a bit blowing out his backside at the end of the games. But then this year, Castagna and Pratt have come in and they've been regulars in the team, and they've made like a Belgium truffle, and they've made a perfect thing. They seem like to be enjoying it more. And Tillemans is probably the star man at the minute. He's playing really well, I think. So it's them three Belgiums, Castagna on the left and the two Belgiums in the middle.
Wow.
Although Pratt, I'm not sure whether Pratt's a bit 50-50 for this game. So we might have to bring Maddison in. I was just checking, You haven't got Mark or Brighton in that middle photo then, because they look exactly the same, they do. But you had Pratt.
Well, listen, I mean, we all know about James Maddison. Again, West Ham fans know about him, and I know he's not been starting the last couple of games. But he came on and he was sharp against Man City, was he not? And he got an absolute cracker.
Worldy, absolutely worldy. Yeah. If that doesn't win goal of the month this month, then I don't know what will. I really don't.
But there's a strong rumour that he's going to be starting the game tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Pratt's about 50-50, and it's just a straight swap, but they have different styles of play. So I'm not sure how it will work, whether Tillemans will just drop back a bit and Maddison will be that false 9, 10 or whatever you call it nowadays. Why can't we just have two strikers, the old school style, instead of having a false 9 or no? I don't like that. But it's the way it works for Leicester at the minute. It's the way football's gone nowadays. There's no such thing as a 4-4-2 anymore, is there?
Can we just talk about, the one player that's potentially on every, he's still performing at the top level. Doesn't matter what age he is, and this is the player, I'll be honest with you, Jamie, that I fear the most, because I know what the West Ham style of defending, which is the problem right now, and it's Mr. Jamie Vardy. So in his 9 games against West Ham, he's got 3 goals, but he is in form. He's an informed striker. I don't know when he's not really in form, if I'm being brutally honest. He seems to score a lot of goals in a season, but he scores a lot of goals against teams rather than consistently through the season. Is that correct?
Yes, he can go 4 or 5 games without scoring quite easily, which is probably one of the reasons why I never put Jamie Vardy in my dream team, because he's not consistent enough scoring, and then he'll go for 2 or 3 games and score quite a few goals. Then he'll go a bit, but he's always bringing players into the game as well. He's making runs that drag defenders out for midfielders to come through, or the assists, he's putting crosses in, or he's putting through balls in. So he works his nads off the whole game, but it does go with spates of scoring, of not scoring. So hopefully tomorrow isn't the start. Hopefully there'll be a couple of goals from him, maybe a penalty or 2 again. We like penalties at the minute, we do.
The thing is with Leicester, I mean, I know you changed your style and, under Brendan Rodgers and everything like that, but where West Ham are really vulnerable is the kind of way that Leicester used to play in that sort of counter-attacking, really with pace, possibly a longer ball over the top, or a pacey ball through, long pacey ball as well, which Vardy could run onto. If he's still that player and they kind of revert to that game, I think it could be curtains for us on Sunday. I really do. That's my big fear with Leicester, is that if they find a way to exploit our weaknesses, and I think we've still got a lot of weaknesses, as you would admit, Anton, in defence, we are still very suspect at the back.
Well, let's just have a quick look at all the stats for Leicester's current season just now.
Go.
Now, I believe there's an interesting fact here. I think that if Leicester can score, I don't know the number of goals in the next game, they will then hold the official record for scoring the most goals in the first 3 to 4 games of the season since, or there's a record since 2012. It'll be the most goals scored since 2012. In the first 3 or 4 games of the season. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not the record. Sorry, I think it's just going to be a record since 2012.
Right.
Because I mean, you've got 12 goals already in 3 games.
What that doesn't say is 10 of them were scored in the second half.
Yeah.
Right.
Already in the 3 games. That's where the patiently building up comes into, and then we get you. We get you where it hurts towards the end of the game.
Yeah, but you've conceded 4, haven't you? You've conceded 4, and then on Sunday, let's face it, you're going to concede another few as well, aren't you?
You know what I've got problems with? Set pieces. If you're any good at set pieces, then that's when we struggle, because we zonal defend. And I absolutely hate zonal defending.
We've got better. We've got better at it, yes.
Yeah.
Because it gives you, when you're zonal defending, you're standing still, and the attackers are coming in and running and can get the leap on you. But you try jumping up from a standing start. You can't do it. I hate zonal defending, but it's a lot. It's part of the modern game again, isn't it?
Not
old school anymore.
If we can get some decent service to one of our taller players, Haller, if he plays or starts, but Souček in the middle of the park for us. He's quite tall. Scored a couple of goals already this season with his head. Yeah, so I agree. I think that's where we can exploit you is set pieces, corners, free kicks, whatever. But
absolutely. If we look at the head-to-head stats from the West Ham and Leicester lifetime of competitive games, West Ham have actually won 52 games to Leicester's 49, albeit that's definitely going to be changing in the coming years. And I think Leicester are probably going to overtake West Ham with that fact. And there's been 33 draws in total. Jamie, how do you expect Leicester to line up against West Ham? And the second question on the back of that is, how do you as Leicester fans perceive West Ham?
I think the lineup, like I said earlier, the only change will be if Pratt is not fit, then Maddison will come in. Other than that, it will be the same as the Man City lineup, because Evans is fit. He's been training, even though he went off. So it'll be the same as that, but it won't be that. Won't be a 5-4-1. But Maddison will come in. It'll be more like 3 at the back, midfield, and then you've with the wing backs. Pratt, Tillemans, and Mendy in the middle, and Barnes up top with Vardy. But Maddison will be in instead of Pratt this time, I think.
Right, okay.
Whew, I didn't expect the team sheet to come up there. It quite surprised me. I'm glad, because I was trying to think what the actual team was. Because
what do Leicester fans think of West Ham as a team? I mean, do you think we're a bit of a soft touch, or do you think
all them years ago you won the World Cup for England, so that weren't too bad. But as the years have gone on, you've been there or thereabouts, haven't you? And then a few years ago, you've been up and down. You in the League One with us a few years, not League One, the Championship, a few years ago. And you're slowly growing and you're slowly getting there. But I think a big thing is I think you need to get rid of the owners. I really do. I don't think they're doing you any good whatsoever. Is it Sullivan and Gold and Brady? Is it? Yeah. I'm not sure, but when you're at the old West Upton, do you call it Upton Park or the bowling ground? Which one do you call it?
It depends which fan you talk to. So it's a generational thing. A lot of us call it Upton Park, and then a lot of us call it bowling ground. So it really depends.
When you were there, it seemed like you were more of a family club because everything was so close in, and it seemed very family orientated. And then you've moved to the I forgot what it's City Stadium. What's it called?
London Stadium.
London Stadium. Yeah. It seems like you need old binoculars to see where, and they don't see the atmosphere or anything there. But you seem to be a very family club. But I think now the family side's gone out of most football clubs. To be honest, it's more of a business than anything. But I mean, you've had some great players over the past. We had Tony Cottee with us for a few years, about 12 years ago. Yeah. Fantastic player.
He went to Leicester to win some trophies. Did he not win a League Cup with you?
That was his only ever winning medal.
Yeah.
He never won anything else in his last year. No. Yeah. Was it his last year or the year before his last year? One of the two, I can't remember. But he won his only medal when he was about 35, which is some going. But we perceive you as being a family club. I mean, the first West Ham, I think we only beat you twice at the Upton Park Bowl or whatever you want to call it in all them years. And I think we beat you 3 times. I'm not 100% sure. Definitely twice. Definitely twice, maybe 3 times. at the new ground. So the atmosphere is just gone. It was the same when we moved to King Power. The atmosphere went to start off with, but then it's slowly coming. It can get a bit quiet, but it's slowly coming back. The atmosphere is now.
Well, yeah, I mean, we keep on saying it's going to be a generation before a really good atmosphere and real good feeling around that stadium comes back. I mean, they're going to make design changes and things like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You move stadium. Man City had exactly the same thing. You move stadium, you relocate from one point to another, even if it's only a few yards down the road. It takes a long time for that to, be like it was. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
And, with any increase, you were talking about Leicester, increasing their capacity as well. You're going to attract new fans. You're going to attract fans that have never been to the football before as well. And this is possibly what's happened to West Ham as well. We're going to this big stadium, and you've attracted a whole group of fans. Not necessarily even West Ham fans, would you believe? And that's what happens. You get Premier League fans now, as opposed to that football club fans.
100%.
That's just not West Ham. That's just all Premier League teams have that as well.
I mean, you think 10, 15 years ago, you'd have never seen, because of social media, the way social media is now, you'd have never seen groups in America. You'd have never seen groups in Australia supporting the team because there wasn't the ability to do it. Now, football is just especially the Premier League, it's such a worldwide thing now.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing to get other people involved into football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jamie, let's get your predictions for the side. So you've given us what you think the lineup will be for Leicester. Let's get this crazy time out of the way. Get your predictions.
3-0. 3-0.
To West Ham.
Oh, yeah, really. You see this badge here on my heart? 3-0.
Jamie, what I will say is...
Now with your head, Jamie. Now with your head. You've gone with your
3-0. 3-0.
Head and heart, 3-0. Oh, blimey.
I can't help...
Yeah, 3-0.
I can't help but think that... I won't give my predictions here just now because I need time to think about it, process the West Ham, process what you've been saying, Jamie. But this is going to be a high-scoring game either way because Leicester like to score goals. Leicester are definitely capable of conceding some, not a lot, but some. Every now and then, West Ham can definitely concede goals, and West Ham can score goals as well, because obviously that's how West Ham win games. We have to always outscore our opponents. When they get 3, we have to get 4, and that doesn't happen a lot, and that's why we lose a lot. Therefore, I do think it'll be a high-scoring game. Jamie, the Leicester player, one player that West Ham should fear the most?
Vardy.
The West Ham player you fear the most.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said the Leicester player.
No, that was a Leicester player. Now I'm looking for your West Ham player you fear the most.
Antonio. Is that how you pronounce it? The big stocky lad up front, the one that used to play Chef Wednesday? Oh, he's awesome. He is. If he gets the ball, you think, oh no, you're looking through your eyes thinking, oh, please don't go any far. He's so quick. He's pretty, and he scores goals. He's got muscles. He barges his way through. So if he's playing there, that's the person that I think that we ought to worry about. Is he fit? Has he been playing? I don't know.
Yeah, he's fit. Should be fit. Yeah.
And I think his goal scoring record since Project Restart is like absolutely phenomenal, isn't it, Alf? He's got 1 goal this season, but I think he got, was it 8 goals in 9 games?
For
Project Restart.
I'm going now talking about him scoring that many goals.
He's played well. He's played well for us. Yeah,
absolutely. Jamie, listen, mate.
Just one question for you. Yeah. The lad that went to West Brom, why did you get rid of him? Digami? Digami, what his name is?
Diangana.
Why? He looked great against us.
So you're asking a very, very good question there, mate. A very good question. And most West Ham fans do not have the answer for you. That's the problem. The problem is that, we probably had a surplus of players in that position. We probably cash strapped, and we probably had one player on the books that somebody was willing to pay some money for, so we decided to sell him. That's what it comes down to.
He was definitely an asset that cost us absolutely nothing. So he came through our youth system, and we're desperate for money because if we didn't make that sale, we'd have no money to buy in any players, or the budget would have been 10 million, I think, for the transfer kitty, and then. My frustration, Jamie, and West Ham fans' frustrations is the fact that West Ham were even in the situation where we would have to sell a youth prospect. I'm not so gutted about the sale as much as maybe other fans are, But I'm more gutted about the fact we're in the situation and couldn't give him a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has played Premier League games in the past. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But I mean, we could go on all day about that's ownership.
And what about Tarkowski? Do you think you'll make a bid for him again, or do you think that's finished with no matter what?
That's done.
No.
That's done. No,
yeah. Well, to be quite frank though, I mean, he's 28. Burnley want £40+ million for him. It's not happening. I don't think. And I know Leicester, you're interested in him, but I think
we were.
Fofana is the guy that's fulfilled that spot. 19 million quid.
No, 30 million. 30 million. 19 years old.
Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? Really,
that's the only thing that worries me. That's a lot of money for a 19-year-old that's played 30 games in the French league. Hopefully, it's good, because on YouTube, all three of us could be absolutely fantastic kicking a ball about. You can make yourself look brilliant, but I'm just a bit worried. It's a lot of money, a lot of pressure going on a young lad's head. So hopefully he's got an old head on young shoulders.
Just for a bit of kind of thing, I had a look at him and looked into his what his negatives as well as his positives are. So he's got such a great aerial ability. I think his dual record in the French league is like the best that's there in that level. But he's so prone to moving forward that sometimes he leaves his gaps open at the back. So you need to have a sweeper-ish defender playing alongside him, because he'll get caught out of that position, and that's potentially his only negative. But they are predicting that he can grow within the game and get over that ability to keep going forward all the time.
It depends who he plays with. If he plays with Johnny Evans, yes, Johnny Evans will play as that sweeper role. But if he plays with Soyuncu, who's been absolutely massive since we sold Maguire, then you've got two of the same type of players. So if Evans played with him, yes, but if Soyuncu played with him, who likes going out with the ball and taking it, not quite Franz Beckenbauer, but similar kind of thing. But that could be a problem if they're both the same. But we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah.
And Evans is on form at the moment. He's just got a recall, hasn't he, for Northern Ireland as well, hasn't he?
Well, he got injured, didn't he? The last one. So he was there, but he got some kind of knee injury from the previous season.
Right.
But the big bonus this week is Harvey Barnes getting a call up for England, his first call up.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Deserving. He's been playing well. If he just put a few goals into his game, it'd be absolutely brilliant. But he's good. He gets down them wings. He puts the crosses in. There's another one you've got to be scared of as well. Barnes. He goes down them wings like the clappers, and he puts the balls in. Varley's in 5-10 yards of space. Well, 5 yards of space. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
Quids in. Just needs to add goals to his game, unfortunately. But other than that, he's going to be a quality player.
Well, I think I'm going to be hiding behind the sofa, watching the game through fingers like this tomorrow. Put it that way.
I think I'll be standing in front of the TV with my shirt above my head. Yeah!
Listen, it depends on what West Ham turns up. Is it the inconsistent? Listen. We had I mentioned it somewhere. I think we had a couple of celebrities and people were tweeting all week saying, "Never, ever, ever beaten West Ham. They're the most inconsistent team in the world you'll ever meet. We'll go 3 games unbeaten, come up against a team we should absolutely demolish and get smashed, and then we should turn up against Wolves expecting to get beaten, smash them 4-0. So it's going to be an interesting one. Jamie, mate, from the Fox's Arms and Leicester Fan TV, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Go and check out their channel. They've had West Ham fans. I've been on their channel. They've got loads of other West Ham groups coming on and chatting with them as well. Go and subscribe to the channel, etc. Jamie, go for it.
We're on everything. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all under the Leicester Fan TV. My personal one, the Fox's Arms, on Twitter and Instagram as well. If you want to come and join us, if you want to move clubs once in a while, in a few years, because you get fed up, then come and join us. Not a problem. We'll take you. We don't mind.
Good. Goodbye.
Especially because Anton's come from up north to down south to support a team. Because that's not a Cockney accent, is it?
No, I don't. It comes from the dad. It comes from my Cockney dad. I'm known as the Jockney, Jamie. The Jockney.
The Jockney.
Jamie, listen, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. And,
cheers, Al. Cheers, Anton. Thank you.
Let's hope West Ham spank you. Take it easy.
Come on, you Foxes. See you later.
Brilliant. See you later. Wow.
It's always interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's us, again with another opposition fan that's come on and given us a really strong point of view on West Ham's ownership and the way West Ham's run, and it's the same message that's coming again, isn't it, from the opposition fans? Absolutely.
I think everybody in football can see it. now. Certainly from a fan's point of view, they can see it. Yeah, I'm sure the ownership have their allies within certain parts of the media or certain people out there. But effectively, we all know what the issue is. We all know how inconsistent West Ham are and where our frailties are. And as I say, Leicester are looking really good. We could turn up on Sunday and we could just surprise the hell out of ourselves and and certainly surprise the hell out of Leicester. It'll be an interesting game. I think this is going to be another interesting game. I'm hopeful that we can turn up and put on a good performance. But are we at the point in the video of predictions?
Well, it's funny though, Alf, because if we hadn't played the Carabao Cup game midweek, which was literally a starting 11 that we were probably not going to see tomorrow, then you would be coming into this video maybe a little bit more confident, and that's why I said at the start, and that's a fact. Like so many different players played, different formation was taken, etc. But we've come off of an absolutely fantastic victory against Wolves, where we should be kind of going into this game feeling confident. That's a dangerous place to be though as a West Ham fan.
Yeah,
because we're coming up not just against any team, but we're coming up against, as Jamie said, a pressing Leicester side who take their time to press, pass the ball about. They've got really good ball-playing players and players that also can score goals. They've got 12 goals in 3 games, Alf. Yeah,
I think if we can actually hit them with pace and with power, Antonio's got to start. We've got to have pacey players in the team. Bowen has got to start. We should not have Noble in there. It should be Rice and Souček in there. Do you know what? I'd have Masuaku on this game as well, on the left in midfield. Krez in behind him. If we can have get at them with pace, I think we might unsettle them, and potentially, we come away with a couple of goals and maybe even a win. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be
let's
tough.
look at Jared Bowen. You just mentioned him there. Let's look at his career so far at West Ham. I mean, he's pretty much involved in a goal.
Yeah,
and one in nearly every 2 to 3 games. But he's only going to get better, especially the more confidence that West Ham have going forward. And it'll just before we kind of talk about Bowen and potentially talk to you about Sebastian Haller also up top you've mentioned. That's 5 goals in his last 3 games over 3 different performances. Well, not if you don't include the Everton game, of course, but how important is Bowen first and foremost? And when it comes to playing up front, do you see Moyes, who will be missing for this game on the touchline again, making any changes from the Wolves side? And if not, how can you justify or how can you bring in Haller to the team?
The thing is, I think Moyes' justification for Haller is the result in midweek. But it's not Haller's fault because he wasn't getting the service. It's pure and simple. There's no service to him for him to. He had one, overhead kick, which almost was profitable for him. But apart from that, nothing really. So Bowen is going to be key to add pace and add, able to get some crosses in, trouble their defenses. Same on the left-hand side. If we can get Masuaku, who actually put in a great cross for the Haller goal against Wolves, and he was playing well in that game as well, Masuaku. That's where you can fully exploit Haller if he does come on. If he starts with Haller Antonio up front, I think we could. That is a great combination which Moyes needs to look at. Whether he actually do that or not, I don't know. I would prefer, Moyes came out with a 4-4-2, pure and simple. That makes room for Masuaku on the left. I don't think Anderson is going to have that pace that we need, that guile that we need on the left-hand side, because it was a pretty poor performance during the week. Bowen on the right-hand side. If we can get that, I think we stick a chance. But I just got a feeling that he won't start with Haller. He'll start with Antonio, no doubt. But I don't think he'll start with Haller.
mean, there is an opportunity here. Again, I kind of do agree with you. And while we're talking, let's get you to get your starting 11 in the comments just now. But, like you said, Alf, I can't personally see Moyes or Alan Irvine making any drastic changes for the game, as much as I don't know if, like you said, if it's the hangover from the Everton game. But I just think that at some point soon we need to try and start building Haller into the side.
Absolutely.
Because he is or has been scoring goals. He has momentum. And that's my only concern I've got is we've got history of doing it, mismanaging players, and them losing the momentum, and then they start back at ground zero again and have to work their way back up in terms of confidence.
I know Haller, when anytime he scores, there's a little bit of theatre there with him, isn't there? There's a little bit of I've just scored, so what? This kind of thing, isn't it? He doesn't really celebrate. He doesn't really, give it the old, fist pump and all that kind of stuff. But especially in that last game, I thought if we don't start playing him properly and giving him good service, then we could lose him here. We could lose, any kind of any kind of delivery that you can give us, any kind of return that we on any investment that we had. We weren't really playing him to the best last season. We kind of started this season with the Carabao Cup, 2 great performances. He came on against Wolves, scored straight away. Then we put him in the game of the week during the week against Everton. Didn't play to his strengths, and guess what? He didn't have a great He didn't have a great game. He didn't have many chances, and that's the problem. You got to play to his strengths. We've done, as you said, we've done it time and time again, and we could lose him if we. And when I say lose him, I mean lose his productivity. That's what I'm talking about. Lose his enthusiasm to play for us.
Yeah, absolutely. West Ham have made a signing. Well done. Woohoo! We've signed someone. We signed, and I think we've had a couple of Czech fans coming on to the group and actually trying to explain how you pronounce his name. And apparently, you don't say Kufal; it's Sofal.
Yeah, Sufal or something.
Sufal. So we have signed.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Vladimir Sofal or Sufal has joined the club, but I think Fredericks will be missing for the game. So what do you do? I don't think he will throw him in at the deep end, but I think Ben Johnson will probably start. What's your thoughts there, Alf?
It really depends how he's showing, in training this week and how he's developed. I'll be surprised if he starts. But Vlad the Impaler. I know it's a different country, but there we go. And we're going to call him Vlad the Impaler now. Vlad the Impaler. I think he'll be good if he did get on the pitch and actually, showed us what he's got.
Yep.
But look, if we start Krez on the left, Ogbonna, who's just got Italian recall as well. And Balbuena, I'd have Balbuena in there as well. Johnson, I think Johnson's still a little bit naive at times, so it'd be interesting to see if this Sufal is, more mature, whether he's got a better relationship with Souček. Who knows? But we'll be interested on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just briefly discuss the new name that we've given, which is Cresuaku. Creswell and Masuaku in the left hand. I mean, Masuaku's earned his place in the side. He's making a bit of a difference. He's given us a new threat in that left-hand side. He's not being expected massively to defend. He's been brought in this whole new role. In terms of service, it's going to be massively important. We've got Masuaku one side, Bowen on the other side. West Ham have got an opportunity to bang in some goals here, and I think we're capable on our day, Alf. Yeah. Especially with Declan Rice and Souček in the middle of the park. Yeah. Do you think when we had Richard on last week, he was talking about the battle of the midfield? Wolves midfield is a really, really top level, top notch midfield. Yeah. Souček on Rice with Bowen and Masuaku on form have got a really good, and you mentioned it earlier on in this preview, this is where we could try and win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm convinced of it. I've always been one of Masuaku's biggest critics, but that was always in the defensive role. But if you're putting him on the left, with the attacking role, and also he's not trying to do his silly little step overs all the time and just get to the byline and not actually produce a cross. However, now we saw glimpses of it a couple of seasons ago, where he just came on the pitch within a couple of minutes. He got the ball, moved up just past the halfway line, and put an early diagonal ball forward to an Arnautovic, who went on to score. And that was what he failed to do beforehand and never really continued to do afterwards. But if he can put early crosses in and decent crosses in, he is the man for us on the left-hand side, because Anderson basically just isn't doing it there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm Anderson's biggest fan.
Yeah.
Half the time, I think don't like where he's playing, to be honest. Don't like
him
in the number 10, but it looks like West Ham are never going to play him in the number 10. Can you see any place in the side for the coming weeks for the midfield trio that had such a decent performance in the first couple of legs of the Carabao Cup? And that's Yarmolenko, Lanzini and Anderson. Sorry, I didn't prompt you there.
Yeah, sorry. As substitutes, as substitutes, definitely. As I said in previous games, right now I don't think we'll be starting with them, but I think we could be ending the games with them coming on as substitutes. I mean, it really depends, obviously, what injuries you get and how informed Bowen and the likes of Masuaku are, whether they would get on. If we get injuries to Antonio as well, that's going to be a big decision whether Lanzini or an Anderson will drop into that role, and whether we could put them in there to support Haller up front. Interesting. That'll be interesting. Yeah. I just don't think they're ready for the fight, those players. But I think they're really good substitutes to come on, especially Yarmolenko.
And we know that Diop's missing for the game again, of course. Yeah. I think I did read though that he is. I don't know if he's back at the training ground. I don't know if there's rules. I think the rules are different for Premier League clubs. So therefore, I think as long as a player produces 2 negative tests in a row, they can then potentially come back into the setup. So, but do you see him if he is there coming back in? I don't think he is there, right? But I'm just covering that level. Balbuena, has he done enough for you to continue his spot?
Yeah, absolutely. He's done enough. Absolutely. Right. Even though there was a poor all-round team performance during the week, he's definitely done enough for me.
Excellent. So when it comes to the starting lineup, then are we going with something similar to Wolves? I mean, I don't really see changes. Fornals, I was sitting there criticising Fornals within reason to a certain extent during the Wolves game. Bang, he stepped up and he assisted the goal, and he actually did. He was quite effective in the Wolves game. To be honest, he wasn't setting the world alight. He was just he went silently under the radar. But I don't see him changing Fornals either, to be honest.
I don't think there's going to be mass wholesale changes in here. I think that's a big criticism of the Everton game, not only obviously because of the white elephant in the room that we're all going to talk about, which is the lack of substitutions, but also I think it was the selection that was a kind of halfway team. It wasn't really the Premier League starting team, and it wasn't really the Carabao Cup starting team. It was a kind of a mishmash of both. And I think this one we're going to revert back to the Premier League starting team. I don't think there's going to be wholesale changes, and I think we're going to have a strong bench, that's for sure, in this game. And, we haven't really had any injuries. So, I think, as I say, if we can hit them with pace and power, I think we're going to surprise them.
We definitely do.
Jamie there was very confident, and he has a right to be very confident. But I think, I don't think we're going to be the pushover that possibly our performance during the week would have many people believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's maybe where a lot of people will take their opinion into this game from, where they should try their best to remove that and think of the Wolves game in particular, because we came off of it, buzzing, etc. So it will be an interesting time. And I don't think there's going to be many changes, like Alf said. And I think I think the big difference in this game in particular is the substitutions. It's really going to be the substitutions for this game, and it's going to be if West Ham are winning again. But bringing players on, because that's the only way I can see players trying to step it. My biggest concern, Alf, is that if we keep not making substitutions, not giving these players any time to try and produce anything. Haller got 3 minutes last week and scored a goal. And he'll be. They'll all be chomping at the bit to get into that starting lineup, and if they're not going to get given a chance, then that can drop morale. Alf, that can drop the players' morale.
This is exactly what I was talking about. My point about Haller. If you're not playing him properly and he's not getting proper service, the morale of Haller will go down, and it'll be any player as well. If they're not able to produce, if they're not able to play their game, then the morale will drop. It'll become disjointed, totally disjointed. It's almost disjointed now after that one performance against Everton. And Moyes has a real task on his hand to actually gather it all back together and make it and repair some bridges, but repair the damage that I suppose his tactics have caused, really.
What I haven't mentioned to you is make sure you keep subscribing to the channel if you are new to the channel, or if you're currently watching it and you haven't subscribed. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification beside it. That will alert you to when our shows come up. Please leave a comment. Let us know how you think the channel's going. Any recommendations for any new shows, etc. Let us know. And if you want to come on, again, comment and we'll try and get in touch. And of course, hit the thumbs up. But it comes to the juicy time of the show, Alf, and that is our predictions. So before we get onto our predictions, you make sure you give our predictions in the comments just now. Alf, West Ham have won just 4 of our 23 away Premier League games under David Moyes, drawing 5, losing 14. Although one of those was a 2-0 victory at Leicester in May 2018.
Yeah, remember it well, yeah.
So with that in hindsight, what is your thoughts and predictions for the game tomorrow? We will be doing the Matchday Live. Please tune in to the channel tomorrow, Matchday Live. Come and have a bit of banter. It's always a good bit of laugh. But yeah, what's your predictions, Alf?
I will say pessimistic 2-2.
Oh,
pessimistic. Yeah. Optimistic 3-2.
Oh, no! That's my one. Whoa! You're not allowed to.
No, I can have as many as I want.
You can.
I'll go for 2-2. I'll go for 2-2.
And I'm going to take the 3-2 West Ham. Either way, I think that goals will be scored in this game.
I agree.
And I think if West Ham can walk away with a 3-2, or even just walk away with a point or a victory tomorrow against Leicester, then there are definitely signs for optimism in the camp, and that's something we want to see. Listen, let's not take away a lot from the current side that we've got. Players like Thomas Soucek, Declan Rice, Augie's doing the job at the back. Masuaku's finding a bit of form. Antonio's, keeps holding the team together with his performances. We've got players on the bench who are desperate to get a chance. Haller scored 5 goals in 3 games, or 4 games if you include the Everton game. So we've got players. Alf, we've not even mentioned players like Snoddy who aren't even getting a chance.
We've got players who are either hard workers or lots of talent, and most of them just have not been performing up until this season. So now, hopefully, they've got an opportunity to prove themselves and start delivering.
Absolutely,
deliver on a consistent basis.
Alf's going for a positive result, a 2-2 victory, a 2-2 draw, and a point to West Ham. And I'm going for a 3-2 victory to West Ham. Jamie, who was from the Fox's Arms, Leicester Fan TV, predicted a 3-0 win to Leicester.
A very bullish Jamie there. 3-0 win. I'm not so sure about that one. I'm not so sure.
Alf, man you fear the most from Leicester?
Vardy.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
Definitely. Yeah.
West Ham man that they should watch.
The West Ham that play that they should watch. Actually, I would say Antonio as well. Yeah, but they should fear Antonio.
I think they may underestimate Masuaku.
Yeah. He was on the tip of my tongue, really, actually. But
and that could be a positive for West Ham. So hopefully Brendan Rodgers is not watching Irons United and getting all the hints and tips from me and you and Alf and everyone else that comes on the show. So listen, like I said, subscribe, comment, like. Any last points you want to make, Alf, before we head? No.
I think I have to drink heavily. I will be hiding from behind the sofa, behind my fingers there. But no, look, I think it's gonna be an entertaining game. There's no doubt. I think it's going to be a high-scoring, entertaining game. But I think it's not going to go all our own way. Hopefully, we'll get out with a draw. Hopefully, a win. Let's leave it at that.
Like I said, subscribe, like, comment. I've been Anton. He has been that way. Where is he? That way. He's been Alf. This is West Ham Irons United, I should say. And just get behind the side all the way from your armchair. Come on, you Irons. Come on, you Irons.
Don't you just miss it, though. Don't you just miss it.
Oh,
absolutely. Heavy. When you just said that, from your armchairs, just like, it's not right. Yeah. It's not right. Yeah. But there we go. It's right. It's the right thing to do, of course. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Right. Up the hammer.